Coach, what was your overall assessment of a nearly 3-hour scrimmage today?
There were a lot of good things, but there's still a lot of things we got to improve on. Offensively, obviously doing something different each week. It looks a little bit better, and there were some good plays today. You know, obviously the negative yardage plays are the ones that concern me, whether it's a sack or it's just not getting back to the line of scrimmage on a run play, and we got to do better there. But there were plenty of good plays too, so that was positive. I thought the defense really did a good job today. They've got a veteran group that they're working with the ones, and just that system and being able to be in that system now for some of those guys in their fourth year, I think really makes a difference for those guys. We were able to get a lot of special teams plays in, which was great to get that on film, all phases, and we'll go look at it this afternoon and just kind of find out if we got players positioned where they need to be, and then the guys that are in those positions, are they making the plays, and work to improve over the next couple of weeks before we play.
Coach, last week you talked a little bit about your offensive line. You're a little bit concerned. Do you feel better about how they've done this past week in the scrimmage?
They have. They've done better, especially the first group. And we put them in different situations. We're down on the goal line, and we had the positive red zone coming out from the 1 yard line. Just a lot of different scenarios, which was good. It's not something you can practice every single day. Certainly not in a live drill, so it was good for those guys to be in there. And I thought there were some positives for both sides. It's what I hope is that the offense will make some plays, the defense will make some plays, and it's not completely one-sided. And I felt like last week it was a little bit more probably in favor of the defense, and I thought today it was a little bit more evened out. Defense probably still, if you were keeping score, had the upper hand, but that'll improve, and the more these guys do it. Again, that's it's 2.5 weeks in, so we got a couple more weeks, and hopefully that'll be the improvement that we need.
You feel like you've kind of settled in your mind about key starters and who would start a quarterback for you?
I think so. I think Bryson right now is at the top, and it's good to kind of feel good about who the starter's going to be. And there's still plenty he needs to do to improve and get better and not force plays. But taking the red shirt off of him today and letting him run the ball some, especially on the goal line, that was positive, because I think that's a strong suit for him, is being a good physical, tough runner.
Coach, offensive line-wise, Brady Small was working with the first unit today at center. Can you talk about what you've seen of him in camp and how he's gotten to where he is right now?
He's a really physical kid and really very sudden. I mean, when he gets his hands on people and strikes them, they move. And he played in our prep school last year, so he's not a true freshman. And so we just have been impressed with what he's shown us in the practices when he has a chance to go live, and we've kind of started to move him up and get him in there with the 1s and 2s, and so I don't know that he's necessarily a starter yet, but I think he's battling and pushing those guys in front of him, which is positive. It's good to have some competition, and I like seeing some of those young guys, the rookies, stepping up and perhaps being a role player for us.
Watching Hayden Reed today run and how physical he runs, it seems like, how good of a fit is he for this shotgun offense, do you think, and what you guys want to do?
He's a good runner, a good player. It just looks different. All of those guys and what they have to do in this offense compared to what we did in the last. Miles Stewart playing slot back, running on a pitch path, and him carrying the ball in the interior. He and Hayden Reed have both been really very pleasant surprises, and I thought Tyson had some good runs, and we've seen Jacoby do some really good things in camp. So those 4 guys, along with Markel Johnson, we felt pretty good about doing the things that we're doing. And obviously it doesn't matter if they don't get any blocking up front, and that's where it starts. So continue to try to get our offensive line set and prepared to do a great job blocking for those guys, so that those guys that we feel like have the ability can get back to the line of scrimmage and then make some positive yards.
Jeff, other than the things you've already mentioned, any other areas of improvement? Did anybody emerge this week that we should know about?
Casey Larkin continues to improve and really I think is working his way into being a player that will be able to use quite a bit on defense and perhaps even challenge at some point to be a starter. He's not quite there yet, but he's getting close, and so that's been encouraging. Tano Letuli is a freshman, though he's not even in the depth yet. He is very soon, I think, going to find his way into the depth, be a travel guy, and be able to play on special teams and play linebacker, and so I'm encouraged by that. Let me think here, who else is kind of showing up? There's some young DBs. I saw Jackson Hammond, who's really fast. He's an undersized guy right now, come up and make a tackle in the open field today on a back. He can really run. I think there's some good young guys in the secondary that if they can start to really gain a grasp of the defense, that they perhaps could end up being special teams guys for us and role players on defense. There's been some guys at receiver, though we didn't throw the ball very much today. We were running it a good bit. There's some guys at receiver that have made some plays. Taylor Salisbury is a guy last spring that I didn't know if he would have a chance to contribute at all. He's really done some nice things, and he's not challenging for a starting spot yet, but he's going to provide some depth. I like that group. Isaiah Alston, Casey Reynolds, Noah Short, Ijon Marshall. There's Liam Fortner. Caleb's a linebacker. Liam's a receiver. Liam Fortner. All those guys doing some good things out there, and there's a mentality certainly here that we want to be able to run the ball and play physical football. So they got to be blockers first, and I think they've embraced that. And we had some decent runs on the perimeter behind their blocks today, so that was encouraging.
Conversely, are there areas that you're more concerned with than you would hope to be at this stage of the season?
Yes, far too many negative yardage plays on offense.
The result of just missed blocks or missed cuts?
Missed blocks or a missed assignment that allows a guy into the backfield untouched. Perhaps holding the ball a little too long when a receiver's not there and taking a sack when we need to throw it away or pull it down and run it. Pitch plays, we had some pitches on the ground. And when I'm not talking about with the number one team out there, but just in general, we pitched some balls on the ground, pitched the balls behind, and so those things need improvement, and that's a big area. The tackling is something that we've placed a great emphasis on, and I think at this point right now we're tackling better than we have in previous preseason camps, just the emphasis we placed on it, but still we're missing some tackles, and we can't afford to do that. We've got to be terminating tacklers, and so if we'll do that every time, then we're going to play good defense. So there's still a couple weeks, and we know the things that we need to focus on, and we will, and hopefully we'll make those improvements before we play at Louisiana Monroe and give ourselves a chance to win, because if we don't improve those things, then we're not going to have any chance to win.
Jeff, at this stage of preseason, how close are you to determining 1, 2, 3, 4s on your chart, or are they in your head only?
I think right now those are established to this point, but there's still plenty of time for those 1s and 2s and 3s to kind of move. And it's the responsibility of the 3s and the 2s to move their way up, and the 1s to continue to play better and not get beat out. And I think there's some positions like the offensive line that perhaps we're not quite sure who those 5 are going to be. We got a pretty good idea who the 7 or 8 are that are in that mix, and there's probably a couple of those positions that are pretty established, but we'll find that out over the next couple of weeks. And positions like the defensive line where we rotate so many guys, I don't know that it matters who the first guy is in there. It's the next guy is probably going to play as many snaps as him, and that's just the way Nate and Coach Cronin have rotated those guys over the years, and so I think guys are smart enough to figure out who the starters are and who's kind of established in their position and who's who's ripe for the picking. That they can. There's probably some competition there, and not every position is set in stone yet, and certainly not the depths are set in stone. But we're getting a better idea, and I think that's just the nature of going through 2 weeks of practice like we have. We start to figure it out.
And how does your approach change this coming week? What are you really working on?
We're going to try to get into a kind of a game week mode and get in that routine. We tried to do that a little bit this week. It was different because we're coming out of preseason camp and we took Sunday off last week. Because typically we practice on Sundays, but we'll start that tomorrow. We'll practice on Sunday and go through our normal game week routine, and hopefully that will help the guys kind of get into that routine as we go into game week and the games to follow.
Coach,
Thanks, guys.
just a real quick question on Tyrell Robinson, where he's at. I mean, when will we kind of see him practicing?
I don't know. His injury was a bad injury. We do anticipate he's going to be back this season. Certainly not for the first game. He hasn't taken a live rep yet. Until he can take some live reps, we're not going to feel comfortable putting him in there. So his health is the most important thing, and we'll get him healthy. But we do anticipate he's going to be back sometime this fall, and I don't think it's going to be late into the season. I think we'll hopefully a week to a few weeks into the season we're going to have a chance to get him back out there. Certainly we're excited to really be able to evaluate him and see what he can do. And when you have an injury like that, there's a lot that goes on, not only the physical healing but the confidence of being back out there and turning it loose. And so until we feel like he's capable and ready, we'll just kind of keep him in this holding pattern.
Thanks, guys.